Peace, family. My name is Vicki Dillard for African Diaspora News Channel. Thank you so much for tuning in, family. Certainly, you have heard about the absolutely tragic story about the grieving father, Mr. Rodney Hinton, of his beautiful young son that was unfortunately, and based on all that we see and know, and unjustly taken out. We have to be careful the language we use on these platforms due to what's believed to be a suspected white supremacist or supremacist activity. Notice the word suspected. Family. Now, I want you to watch this brief clip, this brief news clip. Watch this.
Welcome back. An Ohio man charged with fatally striking a deputy with his car last week pleaded not guilty in court today. Rodney Hinton Jr. is accused of killing the retired sheriff's deputy just one day after Hinton's own son was shot and killed by police from a different department. We saw a dramatic scene in court today after commotion erupted in the courtroom gallery where the hearing was being held. Joining us now, NBC News correspondent Shaquille Brewster in Cincinnati. Shaq, walk us through what we heard and saw in that rowdy courtroom today.
Yes, and Clay, that commotion that you were just playing there really underscores the emotion that's being felt in this case. And that was the crux of the argument that we heard from the defense attorney, really for the first time in this proceedings. The defense attorney not disputing that his client was involved in the crash that led to the death of Deputy Henderson, not disputing the idea that it was an intentional crash, but instead saying it was his emotional state that led him to act in this manner, saying that he was responding emotionally after seeing a video of his son being killed by an officer from a different department. That's something that was backed up by a family member who I spoke to after that hearing about the mental state and demeanor of the suspect, of the defendant in this case. Listen to a little bit of that conversation.
I can only imagine what he felt when he seen that video, because when I finally seen it, and I watched that video from the beginning to the end, and watched my nephew drop the way that he dropped. It was like my soul left my body.
Robert Hinton, he pleaded not guilty in that courtroom. We can expect an updated plea to come once an indictment is officially filed. Zingley.
Yeah, a lot of emotion today, Shaq. And I know also tributes are pouring in for the deputy killed last week. What more have we learned about him?
Yeah. Someone who is described as a professional who was loved by so many people. He was a 33-year veteran on the force, someone who was coming back to fill in essentially for traffic duty during a busy commencement weekend when he was struck in that accident on Friday. We were also learning more about the arrangements to celebrate his life, public visitation Thursday evening and Friday morning, and then his official funeral midday Friday that will be likely followed by a processional to honor his life and his service. Zinkley?
All right, Shaq Brewster in Cincinnati. Thank you.
Okay, family. Did you see all those police officers at the end there? They didn't need all of them in court. Why were they there, Vicki? Well, I'm glad you asked. Listen. An Ohio father who fatally struck a deputy with his car after his son was shot and killed by police was denied bond during a chaotic hearing on Tuesday. A judge ordered Rodney L. Hinton to be remanded with no bond in connection with the death of Hamilton County Special Deputy Larry Henderson. Hinton, who is charged with aggravated murder, pleaded not guilty. Before entering a plea, are y'all listening? A commotion erupted in the courtroom's gallery when Hinton's brother started yelling, "That's my brother, that's my brother." More than 50 police officers and at least 36 family members and protesters were seated in the gallery. Deputies immediately escorted Hinton out of the courtroom. Family, let me tell you all something. I know what it is to deal with an unjust situation in court like that. Not, of course, violent stuff like that, but you understand what I'm trying to say, the system itself, the trial setting itself. And what I want to tell you is that the fact that the judge allowed 50 police officers that had nothing to do with the case to come there, which was clearly an intimidation tactic, is diabolical, and it is an act of war. And this is why I believe, and I believe many of the FBA family agree with me, that our brother must be protected because all of the facts have not come out. Our brother is grieving and distraught and in distress. So after one of the members of this police force deleted his son unjustly based on everything that we've been seeing so far because he was fleeing and obviously not a threat, We heard that his cousin said that he called him many times before, and his cousin wanted to set this record straight and said that he wasn't even trying to be there. He was reaching out for help. He was afraid. He said he even fell and some other stuff, that he wasn't even supposed to be there. He was reaching out to his cousin. He said he called him numerous times. I think he said up to 6 to 9 times. He was, and so he was trying to set the record straight about some of the crazy stuff that's being said about the young gentleman family. I think the concern needs to be the police themselves, making sure they don't do nothing shady to our brother while he's in their custody. How many of you all know that we've been at war here domestically? We love to talk about a lot of stuff that's happening around the world, but we don't ever want to really talk about what's happening with the FBA family and the ongoing war here in these United States of America. Shout out to his family for having his back and for calling out the police for trying to intimidate their brother. I'm sure some of you all have seen some of the images that were out there where some folks might even thought he was being arrogant because he made that face to the police and looked them in their face. No, baby, they're trying to intimidate him. We know many of them lie. Of course, we're waiting for the other facts to come out, but we're not going to sit here and give a known liar the benefit of the doubt when you've been an enemy to our people. My name is Vicki Dillard, beloved. I can't wait to hear what you have to say about it below. I have an upcoming free webinar, May 18th. How many of you all heard about Donald Trump coming out saying he wants to be Pope? Folks are trying to make light of it, saying he was just joking around. Then shortly after that, there was an AI-generated photo of him coming out with him being the actual Pope. Trump was denying it, claiming that he had nothing to do with it. Here's the thing. It was on his platforms and on the White House platforms. There's a very black reason for that, a secret, hidden black reason. The true origins of the Vatican. Baby, this is important because it has to do with the ruling of the world. You heard me right. You don't want to miss this free webinar, May 18th. Go to my website at VickiPlanet.com to save your seat today, and don't you miss it. VickiPlanet.com.